Detroit is obviously known as the Rock City. How would you feel if you had to take that inspiration and just put it into American Idol and let the world know about what Detroit is all about?
It's great. You know, it's Motown, it's the Rock City. Got a little bit of everything here, and I'm really excited to kind of put that forward and show America what Detroit has.
Awesome. What song will you be singing for us today?
Someone Like You by Adele.
Two Charlies here, Charlie Blackman, Charlie Lapastora. So what are your thoughts on having all these teams that you're playing, you want to beat in the season, having here on your home turf, your territory?
Well, you get early look, you know what I mean? You get to defend your home turf. This is the Diamondbacks, this is Arizona. Even though everyone's here, this is our state, this is our city, this is where we're going to play baseball and win games. So they got to come here and lucky we're good hosts, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this will be their vantage point as Herschel McGriff Sr. and Jr. and their granddaughter will be racing at Tucson Speedway. How are you feeling right now?
Well, I think when we get in the car, you know, when I get my helmet on and all the suit, they don't know who's in there. They don't know I'm 90 years old. So they might think, hey, here's some 23-year-old wanting to pass me. So what do you do? Yeah.
How you feeling about Pops?
I don't think of it that way when he's out there driving and just like to win, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm proud of him.
You think he can win Saturday?
It's going to be tough. There's a lot of good guys out there, you know, and they don't care. They'd take their grandmother out to win.
I don't want to start crying, but I'm just so happy.
What did it mean to you when you're able to switch on that light and know you have power and that your fridge works so you could feed your family healthy?
Peace of mind. It's like no worries about what went bad, what's going on. The light's on, good. But now I'm coming in and I just flip the lights and everything's going, and I just come home from work and then just jump into bed, and then sometimes I wake up at night and oh, we have electricity, not solar. So I see that the night light is still on. So overall, our prayers, our faith, hopes, and dreams have come true. And I say, oh, a miracle happened. So I'm so happy everything is worry-free now. So.
And is it similar to playing a video game, or is it completely different? And you don't encourage just the average Joe to just go out and use one of these?
Well, some of the controllers actually are video game controllers. Some of the manufacturers, they've taken video game controllers and then converted them into drone controllers. So yeah, if you're good with a video game, you can be good with a drone.
Wow. You heard it here first from a drone pilot. They made those steps and that pathway for the rest of us, and no pun intended, just one more giant step for mankind, right?
There's been a lot of steps since the first one.
It's kind of important, you know, nobody's really stepped foot on the moon before, 50 years before that, so you want to have these astronauts that are literally venturing into a new territory, land safely and get the research back to America.
Yes, the first landing, enormous emphasis on let's make sure they come back.
So what do you enjoy most about being able to get people back on their feet and also bring business to this community?
We just appreciate seeing lives changed, and we like seeing the impact on the community. We're getting positive results from customers and smiles on their faces.
With those smiles on customers' faces, one cup of coffee at a time and one job created at a time, the Coopers desire to bring so much more than just a business and a coffee shop, but a place where a community brings about true change.
It's not crazy at all, because I was told I had a brother named David Hill. I'm actually kind of starting to shake right now. I think one of my first questions for David is, what color of hair do you have? And when he said red, I think I started crying. Dad had red hair.
After more messages via Facebook sending pictures of when they were kids and of their families now, it was time for them to meet. An Army veteran meeting his sister for the very first time, just in time for Memorial Day weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend and he is a veteran. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it means a huge, that we're actually meeting together on this holiday weekend because he is a veteran. I think that just makes it all the more special.
Knowing that 45 minutes away he's going to be here, how are you feeling right now?
I want to cry. I'm probably going to cry. Oh my God.
Type in your father's name and all of a sudden you're connected to blood relatives, you know, that you never knew you had.
In Osceola County, Charlie Lapastora, ABC 29 and 8. Hendrik Zetterberg and the rest of the team are ready as the puck drops tonight at the Joe. So facing the Capitals tonight, what's your strategy going in?
Just keep going on the things we've been doing lately here. I think we lost a lot of games here at home. We can build on some stuff that we've been doing well, and obviously Eriksson is coming back tonight. That's going to help us in the back end, and hopefully we can play a good game and get 2 points.
And then also, how big is it playing at home for you guys against a team like the Washington Capitals? How big is that, the home support from the Joe?
It's important, and it's always fun to play here. The fans is always behind us, and playing the Washington, we haven't seen them that much, so it's fun to play teams that you haven't seen, and it's obviously skilled players on the other side, so it could be a good game.
And part of that recovery, I know, is education. We've been talking about third grade reading proficiency levels and bumping that up from 70% to 100% as one of the governor's goals. And what are your thoughts on that?
Progress in reading is very important. I want to make sure that the local districts can work hard and maintain some control of their lesson plans. But, improving reading proficiency really goes a long way to improve the long-term success in child's lives in the future.
One of those kids is 12-year-old Alejandro. He learned how to skateboard in the program and now volunteers his time to help other kids learn.
The program means a lot to me. It means the whole world. It helps me a lot through trouble. It's gonna help a lot of kids around.
Now all of those kids have a skateboard of their own. Over the holidays, the community donated 270 skateboards to the program just in time for Christmas.
Oh, it's just unbelievable. I could not believe that so many people in our community came together to buy skateboards. They can take the skills that they learn in the program and go out on their street and, have a heyday.
Now, one of the many life lessons Ryan and the staff teach the kids in this program is that when you fall in life, you get right back up.
I've been skating for 20 years and not a day goes by that I don't fall miserably. It really teaches you the lesson of being comfortable with failure and learning from failure and growing from it.
Keep on trying, never give up.
And that's exactly what Alejandro and Skate After School plan to do. They're currently in 7 schools and are hoping to expand to more than 100 in the next few years. That's one way to make a 180 and kick off the new year.
What was it like before?
Before it was, it's like when we go to town, I tell my husband, let's hurry up and go home before it gets dark.
Yeah.
Put all this stuff away. I don't like to run around in the dark, putting food and this and that away. So now it's like, well, we got used to coming home early. So, like I said, it's worry-free, it's more convenient, everything is just easy, and it's just like living. We used to live in Page and everything was just so easy. But when we moved out here, there was totally like nothing here. It was just nothing, no water, but we hauled water, and then we had to do something to get light. So in the meantime, we have our lamps and oil lamps, kerosene lamps, and then the candles, and like I said, those things. And we had to work on it for we moved out here back in 2008 from Page. Okay. And since then, we worked on the water, and they gave us water, which was good. Also, we made our food and all that with it. And then the light-wise, electricity, they gave us solar, and we had to work with them, with the solar to keep it going. So we had to buy a generator, we had to buy gas, and then we have to buy some batteries, flashlights, extra stuff to keep the light going. We have to work on it to keep it going. But now, I don't think we have to do anything but just turn on the switch and there is light. It's like, oh God, give us light. Yeah. So it's like it happened in that way, so I'm so thankful.
We're here with John Vogel, a drone pilot in Flagstaff. And John, you've been doing this for a decade now, and with this experimental program of drones helping out wildfires, why might you be passionate about these drones essentially becoming another part of the crew for helping these firefighters out and helping people out in the surrounding areas?
You know, it's just about providing firefighters with the ability to see what's going on the ground, giving them a view that they wouldn't have, that they didn't have before, hopefully saving lives and giving them the ability to fight that fire more effectively.
And how important is this drone technology? It's been emerging, it's been in society now for a few years, but to be able to have this type of technology, it's not just cool, right? And people think of it as cool, but to help people, you know, how important is that?
I think it's critical. You know, anytime it comes to saving lives and saving natural resources, any tool that can give us a better ability to do that, that tool, having the ability to use drones to help wildland firefighters saves not only natural resources, but can save lives. And there's just nothing more important than that.
And then to be able to help do that, what does that mean to you?
You know, it's that kind of job satisfaction. You can't buy that. You know, getting up in the morning and coming to work and knowing that I'm going to be helping people, you can't trade that for anything. And then when you're on these wildfires, to have this bird's eye view up here, how critical is that in missions where firefighters, you know, can't see from the human eye, you know, while their boots on the ground? You know, ultimately I think it's going to save lives because, again, they can look over that ridge line, they can look over that tree line and see things that they were not able to see before. They don't have to guess what the fire is doing anymore. They can actually see what the fire is doing. And so we're holding, you call these controllers, right? Yeah. They look like video game controllers. And so you teach people how to be an official drone pilot using these, right? Right, yeah, and actually it's just practice, you know. Yeah. If you can drive a car, you can fly a drone, and it just depends on the amount of time and effort you're willing to put into being better at it. And is it similar to playing a video game, or is it completely different? And you don't encourage just the average Joe to just go out and use one of these? Well, some of the controllers actually are video game controllers. Some of the manufacturers, they've taken video game controllers and then converted them into drone controllers. So yeah, if you're good with a video game, you can be good with a drone. Wow, you heard it here first from a drone pilot. So are you looking for drone pilots or no? You know, there just aren't that many. Okay. So we have fewer than 500 in the Department of the Interior. So yeah, I think those numbers are only going to grow as the tool is appreciated for what it can do. Gotcha. Anything else you'd like to add? No, thanks for having us. Thank you. All right. From Flagstaff, Arizona, this is Charlie Lapastora, Fox News. So I'm here with Laszlo Keste here in Flagstaff. He's a scientist that studies the moon currently. And 50 years ago this month, the lunar landing happened, the Apollo missions. And we are sitting right in front of this lunar mock rover vehicle, is that right?
This was the vehicle that Apollo astronauts used for training for driving the rovers that went to the moon.
So Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Alan Shepard, they used this rover behind us.
This was for the later Apollo missions. Okay. So 15, 16, and 17 had these rovers. 11, 12, and 14, they were on foot for those. Gotcha.
And so how important is it to have a simulated rover like the one we have behind to conduct those real-life missions?
So these vehicles were very useful for training astronauts to know how to drive safely on the moon and also to figure out just how to work. There were just some very practical issues like what size maps to take, because if they're very detailed, you have to have a whole bunch and you're fumbling through a whole bunch of maps. But if they're not detailed enough, you can't see the features you see in front of you. So there's all kinds of little things to work out, practical details, and learning how to drive safely.
Yeah, you want to make sure you drive safely up in space, right? And then so your job specifically, we just talked about, is to make sure that the astronauts can actually land, right, on the moon. And I mean, how important is that?
So one of the key jobs during Apollo for the U.S. Geological Survey was to make maps that the astronauts could use once they landed and for picking the landing sites, safe and interesting. So that was the challenge, to find places that were really scientifically interesting but also safe. So Apollo 11, the first one, the emphasis was on being as safe as possible. Tried to pick a really smooth and not too exciting a place, but still someplace we'd learn a lot. Right. And then with each mission after that, we were willing to take more and more risks to go to more and more exciting places.
It's kind of important, you know, nobody's really stepped foot on the moon before, 50 years before that, so you want to have these astronauts that are literally venturing into a new territory land safely and get the research back to America.
Yes, the first landing, enormous emphasis on let's make sure they come back. There was a lot of uncertainty about how difficult it would be just to walk on the moon. How far would your feet sink into the surface? And we had sent a few robots to land first and dig in the dirt a little bit. We had some idea, but still, there was a lot of uncertainty, and the pictures we had of the surface weren't that detailed. So on that first landing, Neil Armstrong had to fly around until he was down to just a few seconds of fuel to find a safe place to put down, because he was headed into a pile of rocks initially.
So with Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Alan Shepard, scientists, astronauts, you know, from all over our country here, they all, you know, kind of made their home base here in Flagstaff, right? And I mean, how crucial was this city to the Apollo mission where 50 years ago, you know, Americans first landed on the moon?
So Flagstaff was a wonderful place for both observing the moon. So they've got great telescopes up by Lowell. And we also have wonderful geology to train astronauts. So a meteor crater is the best example of an impact crater that you can go at and really understand how to sort out what those rocks are telling you.
And, you know, how important is it for you to do the type of work you're doing to carry on that legacy where 50 years ago this month, you know, astronauts from our great country first landed on the moon, and now today, July 2019, you can carry on that legacy?
It's a wonderful feeling. Honestly, very often we get really caught up in how exciting our work is today. It's nice to take a break and remember how much we're built upon, where we started from, and all the wonderful and amazing people that went before us and got us to where we are now.
Just like with anything in life, right? People, you know, before us paving the way to help get us to where our society is today.
Yep, it's a giant team effort, not just with people alive today. And we're fortunate. There's still a lot of the people from Apollo alive, but they're starting to fade, and it's really nice to take a moment to remember them.
They made those steps and that pathway for the rest of us, and no pun intended, just one more giant step for mankind, right?
There's been a lot of steps since the first one.
All right. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.